Welcome to My Favorite CX, a podcast that celebrates exceptional customer experiences. To listen to today's, please choose from one of the following options.
Welcome to My Favorite Customer Experience. I'm Chris Holt from Holt CX Consultancy over here in the UK, and I'm joined today by Andrew Rios. Andrew, welcome.
Hey, Chris. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, Andrew, you're currently building the next great BSP as a head of customer experience with City Side Fiber in Irvine, California. I don't think that's the real sunshine outside. You said it's a little bit cloudy.
Yeah, today, it's funny. I wanted to kind of take this talk on the road and just walk outside, and because it was been sunny the last couple of days, but today it's super overcasty. But this is typically what it looks like.
Well, if I panned my camera this way, I'm in darkness here. It's 4:30 in the UK. Tomorrow is the shortest day of the year. So yeah, it's completely different over here. But we met because you're a member of the Elevate CX community, and you've been there for some time. And I wanted to talk to you about what is it you do, what makes you excited about customer experience as well.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. What I do, I like to consider myself just a student of the customer experience. Been in customer experience my whole career, coming on 30 years. All positions, right? The front line, the field technician, then the help desk technician, the network operations center, then on my way into back office operations. And what I've loved about it is been a consistent journey of learning technology, learning how the customer experience is still the most important thing, and that's the differentiator between products and companies that deliver the same product and service. And I've been fortunate enough that I had some leaders along the way that also, allowed me to keep customer experience and customer support top of mind and help, earn seats at the table and have that conversation. So I'm excited about it because you're serving people, right? People are calling customer experience because something went wrong. And I think there's another part of that too, being in customer support, is you have an opportunity to be the voice, if you will, of the customer back into the business. One of the things I always say, if you really want to kind of know what's going on in the company, how the customers are feeling, go talk to someone in customer support. They'll let you know.
Oh, absolutely. And I think you talked about it there of like the one thing that hasn't changed in 30 years has been the need to provide a good customer experience. And I'm guessing on the technology side, you might have seen quite the change in 30 years. What was it like 30 years ago when you first came in?
Oh, wow. So you would have to install a piece of hardware in a data center to activate a customer, right? Now you don't. You push a button from your desk to activate a virtual cloud server for them now. That's a huge one. The quickness of being able to deliver technology to a customer and then get it installed. I mean, that's like night and day now, where you'd have to wait maybe a week or so to get your equipment there, then a technician scheduled, and then get them on site. Those things happen, within a day or two now, which is awesome. And then the ability to provide remote support, right? There's so much now ability to provide remote support to customers there, more real time, 24/7, and through various ways of communicating. Whereas before, it really was the phone, right?
Yep.
Number, and then maybe if you were lucky, an email. But now we have so many other ways to provide service in the way that the customer might want it.
And at the same time, our customers' demands have got more significant because they're more switched on with the technology themselves. They know what to expect. So I'm guessing things haven't necessarily got easier. They've maybe got more complex when you're supporting customers.
Yes, and it reminds me of something that, that hasn't changed, but I think the urgency of understanding it and resolving it, addressing it has. And that's that customers have always expected you to know who they were, what they bought from you. That was even 30 years ago. Now it's even more so because of the rapidness of the technology and information there. So as a support leader, you even have more kind of what, I don't know, arrows in your quill to let the business know, hey, this is why data integrity is important. This is why clean data is important. This is why having, a staff member or staff at this time is important. And I think that's the opportunity there too, because the customer really does expect, and we should, as as a business, as a company, since we are capturing their information, right, know who they are and be able to service them in that way. Just have those simple pieces of information ready when they contact us.
So, given the amount of change you've seen, what's exciting you most in customer experience now?
Oh, wow. The ability to be creative and innovative with providing support and experiences, right? Uh, Being able to think outside the box when trying to reach out to a customer for either follow up or to entice them to renew with you. Like there's that opportunity now because I believe and I've seen and I've experienced that business leaders, partners, marketing leaders are coming to the customer support team, support leaders telling us what do you need to be successful to increase retention, to increase the NPS score, and that's what's exciting to me as well. And I think also the other part of it from a career growth perspective, there's a lot more opportunities for back office operations roles and specialties to come into life that build those customer experiences, whether it's someone who's building and maintaining your AI chatbot, whether it's someone that's truly building and maintaining your internal knowledge base, right? That might happen to also feed your external knowledge base. So there's those opportunities now too, professionally, and that excites me as well.
I think that's the thing as well, is like there's one of the CX folks over here in the UK says no one ever, no one has a chat up line of I work in a contact center. But actually, customer experience is becoming more and more significant now, where doing a good job by your customers means something. So it does become something that as more and more of our lives become more automated, more AI driven, actually being able to provide something exceptional now does define people a lot more.
Absolutely. Um, the definition too is being like I kind of created that customer experience, right? I brought that idea to the table, or I helped establish what you're now hearing out in the field and in the streets, right? From people just randomly like, oh, when I contacted company X, that experience was so fantastic. And if you work at company X and happen to hear that, that makes you feel good. Like, yes, that's awesome right there, because you're making an impact, especially with people being even more, I don't want to use the word picky or not, but more targeted with where they spend their hard-earned money, their dollar,
Yep.
their time, right? There's more choices as well.
I'm Holty, your AI-powered favorite experience agent. After the tone, please say favorite, and I will connect you with an awesome experience.
And I think you've also led us in very nicely to talking about like one of your favorite customer experiences. We're influenced by other people's choices and other people's experiences so much. So why don't you walk us through something very recently that tell us what the experience was and why it was exceptional.
No, absolutely. Actually, I have two that just always come to mind when I think about this. One is about technology, right, and how that created a great experience. And the other is about human and how the human still has the ability and the power to create great experiences. So I'll go back to a more recent one. And it happens at the Nugget grocery store in Northern California. So it's called the Nugget. Shout out to them. It's in my hometown of Vacaville, California. We were coming back from Thanksgiving. I'll say this too. Every time we go to Vacaville, the last stop or before we leave, after gassing up to make the drive back down to Southern California, is the Nugget. And it's not just because of the product and what we're buying there, it's the experience. And part of that is when you walk in and you're at the cash register paying for everything, they notice if you forgot to get the utensils or not for the food that you put in the hot food you put in your box to go, right? They notice if you need an extra cup holder and how many napkins. They provide that all to you. I think my son, in his eagerness for his hot cocoa, spilled it while walking. I, as a parent, was like, okay, first instinct, let's just kind of make sure no one gets around it. And he's starting to get upset. And I said, calm down, no problem. Let's make sure nobody slips, right? Can you go get the lady and let her know? By the time the lady had come over to put the sign up in this, the gentleman had already come back over with the hot cocoa and presented it to him. I didn't have to ask for it. They just knew, they saw, that was a moment they saw. So those things happen all the time. And it's everyone from who's making the breakfast burrito at the time, who's asking you if you need something from the aisleway and where it's at. Every time it's been like that. I grew up in that city, so that's what I remember, and that's why we stopped there every single time. So shout out to them right there.
The definition of something that just makes you feel valued and I was going to ask, did it influence your behavior? But every time you go back, which tells me that, they've set that bar that whenever you're in town, even if you're rushed, you're going to go there because you want that experience.
Every single time, and it's genuine. You can tell that that's the way uh the culture, the corporate hires, trains, expects behavior. It's from everyone there. And it's almost like you're not in the grocery store. It's really almost that feeling like you're kind of in the community, and I enjoy it. I love it. There's a nostalgia to it, but also being a student of customer experience, I notice all these little things and I'm like, this is tremendous. Like the way they're doing this now. That's why they're a premium grocery store, right? The Nugget. So that's another reason too. But you forget about that because that's all just part of it as you walk in. And that's the human aspect of it. The human is making that happen, right? And I love that. And then I'll tell you this one, Chris, this is a story I always share with people because I grew up with AAA and having to call for a flat tire. Okay. Yes, I can change a tire. I can, but I have AAA for a reason because they could do it better, faster, and a lot safer than I can. Okay. So one time I'm coming back from LA, middle of the night, after a networking event, kind of cruising in, and my tire pops. And I'm like, uh-oh. So middle of the freeway, I just kind of start cruising over. And I'm kind of in between. I'm in a rougher part of the Los Angeles area. So I'm like, okay, let's get to somewhere lit. Let's just call AAA. Call AAA. And the first thing that comes up is a voice that says, hey, we recognize you as Andrew Rios. Your phone is this. Do you need any services? Tell us what you need. And I told them, I have flat repair. And they give you kind of some options. They said, we'll contact you in text right away. That's it, right? And I'm paraphrasing. It was a lot and worded a lot nicer than that. Instantly get a text letting me know this is where you're at now. Okay, we've contacted the tow truck driver. They're going to be there in X amount of time, blah, blah, blah. Everything happened on that phone. And I still remember this in 27 minutes. Didn't talk to anyone except for the wonderful tow truck driver who came and quickly changed my tire, right? Because I was ready with the key and the opening in the back. Like, here we go. Did my part, right? 27 minutes. Back on the road, new tire, never talked to anyone. Technology made that happen because they knew who I was. They knew probably their data. They knew the experience. They were able to, all that happened automatically. And this still resonates to this day, technology.
And a very different experience to one that I had in the UK with a flat tire. But we only talk about the positive experiences here. So that will never make the light of day. So, Andrew, if people want to find you, where can they learn more about you?
Yeah, LinkedIn. I love to connect with LinkedIn. Like I said, I'm a student of the customer experience. I like to consider myself a customer support leader's best friend. After all these years doing it, if I have an opportunity to give someone a few what I call Rios pro tips, please feel free to reach out. And the Elevate community. Please shout out to the Elevate community, Sarah Hatter, for what she's created. You can find me there too, because if someone asks a question, I usually try to drop a bullet or two and share my experience. So
I'm looking forward to Rio's top tips as well. That feels like a YouTube series in the making. I'll put some QR codes and put them in the show notes as well. Andrew, thank you very much for sharing with us your favorite customer experience.
Oh, Chris, thank you so much for having me. It's been a great conversation. Do good. Appreciate it.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for listening to My Favorite CX. Your listenership is important to us. On your keypad, please press the number between 1 and 5 to rank how much you've enjoyed your experience.